While others missed the moment, these leaders saw the signal and made the bet. We have a really interesting episode for you here today. We have the CEO of the WWF-Australia talking about a bet that he made back in 2016. That's a logo and a company you all know, and a super interesting space. Welcome to This Way Forward with Charlie Newark-French. My guest today is Dermot O'Gorman. Dermot is the CEO of WWF here in Australia, and we're joined together in Sydney today. To start today, do you mind telling us a little bit about what you do at WWF and what WWF is? I think everyone has a concept of what it is. Everyone knows the logo. Everyone's probably been involved in some capacity. But I think you do a lot of different things. So tell us a bit about your role in WWF.
Good. Well, thank you for having me here today, Charlie. And yes, WWF has been around for a long time. We're more than 60 years. And people know us for our famous panda.
Very famous,
very recognized brand. And of course, we do a lot in protecting wildlife around the world, including here in Australia.
Yep.
We also do a lot in protecting ecosystems and the habitat on which we all depend as humans as well.
Yep.
But we also look at the main drivers of nature and biodiversity loss.
Yep.
And so two of those big drivers are agricultural conversion for food, and therefore the deforestation and loss of forests and depletion of the oceans around the world.
Yep.
But we also tackle climate change because the climate challenge is threatening to all of that, and especially humans.
Yeah, I didn't realize you was involved in that. Cool. As you know, we're discussing a strategic bet here today. Do you mind framing that bet? What was the bet you made? When was it? What was happening in the landscape? Tell us a little bit about it.
Good. It's probably 10 years ago, so 2015, 2016, we were doing the usual sort of strategic review.
Yes.
And we really lent into the sort of future forecasting as to where the world is going and where might be playing.
The usual strategic review, is this something you do on an annual basis? And was it different this time?
It's something we do on a sort of 3-year basis and then review annually.
Yep.
But this deep dive into sort of what we called mega trends was really off the recognition the world was starting to change in some big areas. I am a big fan of the Fourth Industrial Revolution, which the World Economic Forum introduced in about 2014, 2015 as a concept. And so we came up with 2 to 3 big mega trends that were going to change our world and how not-for-profits operated and how you drove purpose. And it was off the back of that we then made a big bet on where we think the world's going to be in a couple of those places.
What were the mega trends before we go to the bet?
Yep.
So 3 mega trends.
3 mega trends. First mega trend, the blurring of lines between profit and not-for-profit.
Yes.
Yep. So you could put that into ESG. You can put that into impact investing.
Change, that makes sense. That was happening.
That was happening. The second one that we looked at was then the role that technology was starting to play. Obviously, a lot of technology at that stage, but we could see a few fundamentally different things. And so we focused at that time on 2 particular technologies. One was blockchain, which was very new at that stage. And the other one was to be looking at AI. And so that stage, AI was very unknown.
That was an early bet.
And so those 2 big trends were the key areas that we thought, okay, how are we going to help with a challenge which is around scale? We know how to save wildlife and habitat in a certain place, and we know how to farm sustainability, and we know how to produce renewable energy, but the problem was scale. And so...
Okay, so the bet you were trying to solve was in the context of new technology, blockchain and AI, and in the context of this blurring line, as you say, between profit and not-for-profit. You were trying to work out, how do you grow WWF? How do you scale the business? Is that fair?
That's the fair.
And what was the bet?
So the bet was about repositioning WWF as an organization that could catalyze across those divides between profit and not-for-profit, philanthropy and impact investing. And 10 years ago, WWF didn't really do anything in the impact investing space. Most of our money was philanthropic, and we saw this big other source of funding to scale these solutions just sitting there, early days to be shaped.
Got it. So the bet was you were getting money from donations, basically, just for a layman. And now you're getting money through investment vehicles. Are expecting a return or not expecting?
Expecting a return. Yeah. And then within that, we saw technology as a real disruptor.
Yes.
Because it could help scale things which in an analog world were too expensive, too slow, too dated.
Yeah.
And so blockchain, with its ability to be immutable, to say, put a blockchain attached to a tuna or to a kilo of coffee and be able to follow that around the world in supply chains was the opportunity that we sort of focused on.
So your blockchain usage wasn't donate through blockchain. That's conceptually what came into my head. Your blockchain was like, we can't like change the proof of who did what across the supply chain, and we're going to use blockchain to validate that or as the store of information.
It was very interesting because at the time we said we're going to use blockchain and everyone said, oh, you're going to do crypto.
Yeah.
And we're like, no, we're going to use
WWF token.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Well, I think we probably did a WWF token, but the actual solution was using the characteristics of blockchain then to apply to a totally different problem of what today is tokenization and being able to attach a token to a particular commodity and track it.
Yeah. Okay. So there's sort of two bets there. There's the how can technology help you and how can you leverage like ESG investing.
Yeah.
Why was this a sort of non-obvious bet? Were I don't know if you think of it in the non-profit world as competitors, but were other charitable foundations or not-for-profits doing the same thing? What was going on in the landscape, and were there any counter bets you could have been making, if that makes sense?
It does. And I always smile at the big bet because in hindsight, you go, that was a big bet. But at the time, it's not a big bet. You don't know the answer to it. And so…
at the time, it felt like what? It felt like this is the obvious path, or…
at the time, and this is the bit, at the time we did an analysis on the megatrends and we came to the conclusion that this was going to keep playing out.
Yeah. The
question is, how was it going to be playing out?
Yes, yeah.
And where would we play in it?
Yes.
Yeah, because it's a very broad space.
Yeah.
And we went through a process of, well, what are our superpowers that we as WWF could bring?
Yeah.
Because there are a whole lot of skills that we didn't have in blockchain. And I wasn't about to go and buy a whole lot of blockchain experts to come and work with us to solve the problem. So we had to then work out who were the right partners to take us on a journey.
Yes.
Which then goes to what we did on the big bet was, as well as saying, okay, we're going to do some pilots in blockchain and AI.
Yes.
And we're going to experiment in what we now call blended finance, bringing philanthropy and impact investing together to solve problems. We're going to need to upskill the organization in order to do that. And so we went through a process of innovation training and innovation platforms and funds to make speculative projects to see how they went.
Did your team like that? Was this like, this is a learning opportunity, or this is something?
Look, I think that the team liked it. It's a big change process. Some people thought it was not for them, but I think we worked out how to have an ecosystem that allowed creative ideas to be tested and validated.
Yes.
And brought in a whole lot of ideation skills.
Yeah.
We trained a lot of people in agile across the business.
Yeah.
So those fundamentals are really important because you can't just go from, I've found a big bet and now I'm going to deliver it. It's the capabilities to both deliver it through different phases, which is the key part.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Was there any resistance to this? So in 2016, trying to persuade people in your industry that blockchain was the right area to go, that AI was the right area to go, that must have had some like toughness to it. I don't know whether that's like your big investors or your big donors, your team internally. Was there any other resistance, and how did you counter that?
I think the resist a bit I always find interesting in these change processes, and I've been for a lot of change processes, and I tend not to use the word resistor because it ties it to a particular person or anything. And I think there are a number of barriers to do those innovation components. Some of them are systems because, for example, there's a whole lot of risk in going into impact investing. And there's a whole lot of risk of using a technology that you don't fully understand how it all works.
Yes.
And so if your risk systems and financial systems aren't able to allow you to do that,
yes,
then that's a block to that barrier to change. And so we spent a lot of time over that first 5 years reforming internal systems.
Yeah.
We did have a lot of people who were super excited. We had a head of innovation at the time who ran away and tested all these things, brought some of the people on the journey. And to be honest, we did have a few people who, with all the training, came to the conclusion that this was not really what they wanted to do. And I think that goes to one of what I sort of call the Netflix challenge. Or the Netflix dilemma, which is at some stage, Netflix had to make a decision: was it going to back streaming, or the expensive DVDs? So that everyone loves a good pilot and experiment and innovation, but when it becomes you start investing real money and taking it from other parts of the business to drive that changes the whole sort of dynamics of innovation.
Example is exactly right, because they were shipping DVDs. I remember it. I was being shipped DVDs. So that whoever was managing that part of the business is having their part of the business decrease because there's a new service coming along. What were the short-term trade-offs you were making? Where were you pulling back in order to invest in this bet, if that makes sense?
And I think this is a conversation that we would have at the board, both the executive and the non-executive board, and with senior staff on a really regular basis. And we today continue to have, every month, particularly every quarter, how are we doing? What's not working? What do we need to do to succeed?
Yes.
Using a suite of agile skills and still using the mega trends to help guide our decision. Because I don't think ESG is going away. Okay, it's going through a different form at the moment, but it's still going to be another couple. For the next couple of decades, that sustainability ESG is going to be key. But we did invest in supporting teams to make the change, which was good. That did mean stopping things.
Yes.
And those are difficult conversations. And I have an expression which goes, make lots of small, difficult decisions every week. Don't wait.
I like that.
Don't wait months and months or a year and make one big catastrophic decision. Because while you're profitable, it's easy to make decisions and keep adding to the business. But when you have to be disciplined and stop stuff. And I think the other part is our business is about delivering purpose. And if we're not delivering impact and we're unable to scale it, you have to have an honest conversation to say, is the money invested in that piece of work better moved into another piece of work to be impactful? And also look at what's happening in the market because it's the not-for-profit sector. There's a lot of players and they tend to follow each other. So when we made a project into blockchain, we actually, I think, were the first people to put a blockchain on a tuna on a boat out of Fiji, in Fiji. And I went on the boat and I ran through what they're doing. And looking back, it was super rudimentary, but we were the first to do that. Somewhere. 3 or 4 other NGOs did similar stuff, and it really triggered a suite of ideas of using blockchain to that space. So I sort of think
fascinating innovation. Well done.
Well, it's all part of if you want to drive purpose, you either do it yourself or you partner with others, or you share with the purpose sector so that others can do it who perhaps have more better skills to do it or more access to capital than you.
Yeah. Cool. Dermot, close us out with the last question, which is, how did it all go? And did you have any moments of doubt during it? And I don't know if you can share any stats about this is the percent of dollars we deployed that were donated before, and now it's deployed from ESG or fundraising versus donations. But any like stories you can tell us on how the bet went?
Look, I think it's 10 years. We And I think I put the wins into three categories.
Yes.
Institutional wise, as in our capabilities of business.
Yes.
Fundamentally different than 10 years ago.
Yes. An innovative, modern, stayed with the trends business.
Yeah, much more innovative, able to make those difficult decisions.
Yes.
Super future focused all the time now.
Yeah.
Willing to take risks on things that we're not exactly sure with guardrails and things. And
I think that's an immensely hard change to make, by the way. I heard this stat recently. 20 years ago, the Fortune 500, only 52% of those companies that were there 20 years ago exist today. And it's because they're not able to do what you did of change the culture from being scared of the future to embracing the future.
And I think I talked a little bit about the fourth industrial revolution, which I believe we're fundamentally going through at the moment. And every industrial revolution, the late 60s and 70s, radically changed the world. And it feels like we're in a bit of a radical change at the moment. And so...
Okay, so your first one changed the internal culture to be forward.
Second one is we have built 5-6 social ventures over the course of the last decade.
Yes.
2 of them are going strong.
Yes.
2 of them we closed.
Yep.
One fell over before it got up and running. And so having 2 out of 5 or 6 social venture startups that we built, still going after 5 or 6 years and delivering some good work is really, I think, exciting.
Yes.
And then the third one is really being part of a dialogue in what does blended finance look like? How do you take the special powers that philanthropy have to take invest in high risk things with impact investing? Because both those sources of capital can help to solve the different problem, but in different ways with different risk profiles.
Yes.
This one has to get a monetary and a purpose return. This one is just getting a purpose return.
Yeah.
They can help you steer through the valley of death. They can help create the ecosystem for your impact investing to succeed. Yeah. And so we're involved in a number of different systems change plays where those skills and capabilities that we've built and the social ventures that we've built allow us to start to scale things in a way that we haven't been able to before. And the first social venture we built called OpenSC now works on, for example, coffee with to look at verifying sustainability claims in coffee around the world in 19 countries on a blockchain and AI-enabled platform. Yeah. That is cheaper, faster, and real time that you could not even imagine 10 years ago.
Yeah. Dermot, this is exactly the kind of conversation we love to have. Your big bet was not only the move from, or the blurring of lines between not-for-profit and profit, but also just like moving your organization to this new industrial revolution, being prepared for it, being a change agent versus effectively going out of business as a result. So congratulations on what you did.
Well, thank you. I mean, 2 things. To your question, did I have doubts?
Yes.
All the time.
Yes. And I think, tell us about the doubts.
Well, I think if you're doing something new and innovative and you don't feel uncomfortable, you're not pushing the boundaries. And so that uncertainty, how do you deal with ambiguity, I think is a skill set that I learned and that includes breaking things you've built.
Yes.
Yeah. I find it's really, you build something and then you come back and say, well, that was great for then, but it's now. Yeah. Everyone looks at you, why are you breaking up something you built? Yeah. And it's because the world's changed and I've got to change it. And I think that personal, that's one of the things I've learned is to detach yourself from something that you feel real ownership for to build out for the future. But I am privileged. I've got a fabulous team here in Australia. I'm part of a fabulous network of individuals around the world who are very passionate about this, and we back each other in this change.
I mean, you can see it on your face. You're really enjoying what you're doing, and I'm sure you've built a great team behind you. So congratulations.
Thanks, Charlie.
Thanks, Dermot.